I think this is going to be the thumbnail, don't you? Hey, all you cool cats and kittens. Mmm. Hey artists, welcome back. I hope you're doing well. I hope you're staying safe and staying inspired. If not, then I hope that this video will inspire you a little bit. I'm kind of leaning towards creating videos that work with this time, but aren't necessarily about this time alone. Like, for example, what I am talking about so cryptically is that I learned to oil paint again. I've had a background in dry media, pencil and colored pencil, and then I went to watercolor. But now it's like we have this extra time, and unfortunately it took a lockdown for me to be like, okay, it's time to sit down and learn this again and to get back into it, because I really did enjoy doing oils whenever I have done oils in the past. Such a buttery consistency, such a beautiful medium. The thing is that we tend to get a little bit intimidated by oils, and I understand that. I mean, there's a lot going into it. There's a lot involved with painting with oils, and that's something that I learned. And I'd like to just kind of sit down and share my experience with you, but also to let it lend itself towards maybe inspiring you to sit down and do something for yourself in this time that maybe you haven't allowed yourself to do in the past. And so let's just get into it, okay? So I decided to paint Gerard Way's eye. Boom. Okay. And the reason why I chose his eye was I love hazel green eyes. I love just all colors of eyes. They're probably my favorite subject matter in general, especially of the portrait itself. And not only that, but I'm really familiar with his face. I've done his portrait many times, and I even kind of got a little cocky there for a while. I was a little bit like, I got this, you know. But oh my gosh, you know what? I was humbled by the medium itself. I really was. And even though I knew my subject matter, just because I knew that, it didn't mean necessarily that I knew what I was doing. So, and that's exactly what I felt like in the first stages of this whole process. Was I was like, oh my goodness. And it felt like riding a bike, but I was super wobbly, and it was like I kind of forgot how to do it all together in the beginning. Here are some of the things that I learned right away. And let me just preface this by saying that I've always felt like a great artist knows when to paint what they see and when to take artistic license into their own hands and create it and make it their own. Let's just go over some of the things one by one, okay? And then it won't be so messy for me to go over all of these notes that I've sloppily written, because that's how I take notes. Number one, okay? Do not be afraid to make mistakes with oils, because this medium is extremely forgiving. You'll see in the time lapse, I made so many mistakes. You'll see me start painting and then go back over it, and then start painting again, go back over it, and like lift it out and then paint over it again. And the reason why was because, well, it leads into number two, is I was not getting my values right, and I wasn't color mixing correctly. And color mixing is so important, you guys, and the values, of course, is so important. And we know these things, but when you're using a medium that you haven't used in a while, it's a little bit different. And so I watched a lot of like Andrew Tichler's videos, and he has a fantastic series of videos, and he's a great teacher. He's phenomenally talented. But I will put a link in the description to his channel. The Color Mixing Bible, this book right here, I don't know if it comes in Kindle, but I highly suggest that you order it, because it is fantastic. It's got oils, it's got watercolors. So for example, like, it tells you how to mix certain colors and what they'll mix with and the value of them. However, this is just a specific section for oils. So there's a section for oils, acrylics, watercolors, ink, gouache, and colored pencils, soft pastels. And I believe that's it. But you know what? That's awesome, because it just goes to show you that just because you're mixing maybe quinacridone magenta with ultramarine blue in oils is not the same the result that you're going to get in inks or acrylics. You know, it's a great tool. It's very straightforward. It even gives you like watch points with different tips on which colors to kind of be aware of that do certain things. And it was well worth, I believe it was like 20 bucks, but awesome book. So color mixing and values, those are going to lend to a fantastic, successful painting. So 3 is, it's about blending, and it's about over blending, which I was doing at one point. And the thing is that whenever you come from a dry media background, like pencil and charcoal, maybe not so much charcoal, but like colored pencil and graphite, they really, your success is almost, you know, if you're going for photorealism or just realism, you know, those medias tend to value itself on the amount of detail that you put into the work. And once you kind of train your brain to do something a certain way, and then you come across a medium that works completely on a different level, you really have to stop working by default. And my default was, I like to be detailed, I like to blend, I like to make sure that it looks real. But what I found myself doing is, especially with the colors, maybe if they were off a little bit, I was creating something that didn't look realistic because I wasn't just leaving it to blend itself. And what I mean is sometimes whenever oils start to blend and you kind of leave them a little bit unblended, once it kind of dries, it looks more blended. So if you're a seasoned oil painter, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So overblending is kind of a no-no. There are ways to create realistic effects without having to go over them and go over them again, and the way that I kind of approach colored pencils. And so it really is kind of, you know, just a little bit of like letting myself off the hook a little bit, which in that sense, I felt like it was like, it's okay. You don't have to do so much. And that was nice. So, and really, I think this is probably one of the most important lessons I learned, was just to enjoy the process, because at some point I was kind of reworking his eye socket and his brow bone and then underneath his eye. And I was really kind of stressed about it. And once I kind of started to, I would find myself getting tense and getting like, you know, a little bit more of a perfectionist about things, I'd step away. I'd go take a break, I'd go get some tea or just whatever and kind of find my zen and then get back into it. Because if you're not enjoying the process, you're not going to enjoy the medium, right? So, and Bob Ross had something going on whenever he talked about the joy of painting. So, you know, there you go. Glazing, oh my God, glazing is a game changer. And I've done glazing before, especially whenever I did the dog portraits for the Humane Society. I had a lot of glazing going on there. One of the things that I love about glazing, and this is true in watercolor, this is true in acrylics, this is true in oils, is that it really lends itself to a more realistic look, especially when casting shadows. So that, in accordance with color mixing, I'd make sure that I would get things, you know, properly colored, properly mixed. And you have to make sure that all of your paint is dry before you put the glaze over the oils. And I think that's true with acrylics and watercolor too as well, because you want to make sure that you don't lift the color from the previous layer. And I really, really felt like that it worked really well whenever I was using that to cast a shadow on his eye, where basically right here, where we've got a shadow here from the eyelashes, and then I mixed up gray and a few other colors. This guy, he had so many colors going on. I really should start to simplify my color mixing, but yeah, glazing is amazing. Glazing is amazing. All right, that's an idea. There's an idea that just popped in my head. So my key points: don't obsess over the details too much. Don't overblend your colors too much. Know your values and color mixing. Enjoy the process. Once you kind of get those things down, things will start to come together. I do hope you have enjoyed this video today. I hope it inspires you to pick up a medium that you haven't worked with in a long time, something that, or maybe take up something completely new that you've never used before, and crack into it and make sure that you're utilizing your time as an artist to do something for yourself during this time. I know I've said that before, and I'll say it again and again until we are beyond this. In fact, I'll keep saying it forever, as long as I'm doing this. If you have enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. Hit the subscribe button for more art-related materials, all things art. Make sure that the notification bell is on, and I will see you later. I gotta articulate what I'm gonna say. Painting. I've always said and always felt like the mark of a great artist is to know when you paint what, when to paint what you, I've always felt that, and I used a glaze of, I believe it was Prussian blue or phthalo blue. No, not phthalo blue. I don't remember. I don't remember. I really should write down what I'm mixing, right? I mean, this guy, I mean, he had so many colors going on. I mean, hello. I've been wanting to rediscover, like, in example.
Hey, all you cool cats and kittens. Hey, all you cool cats and kittens.
So annoying.